Welcome back, Alchemists. Today we'll be doing something a little different than our normal fare. A collective oracle card reading using the Alchemist Grimoire, a deck I designed that incorporates spiritual alchemy principles into the cards themselves. And before we go any further, regular viewers of this channel may find themselves wondering how an oracle card reading corresponds with the non-mystical, psychology-based version of spiritual alchemy we've been practicing. And that's good. As inner alchemists, we should never stop questioning and never stop peeling back the layers of a situation to see what lies beneath. To answer that question, we'll turn to Jungian psychology. Carl Jung posited that the symbols on tarot cards were powerful representations of universal archetypes that resided within the collective unconscious, and he saw them as a symbolic language that can help us better understand ourselves. For Jung, using the cards was a way to bring unconscious contents into conscious awareness, and they were therefore tools for introspection rather than divination. He also connected tarot to his concept of synchronicity, which he basically described as meaningful coincidences that reveal connections between the inner psychological world and external events. Therefore, he felt that pulling a particular card at a specific time was a meaningful, non-casual event that could offer psychological insight. While Jung spoke specifically to tarot cards, these same principles apply to oracle decks like the Alchemist Grimoire. Now, let's briefly talk about the cards themselves. Each card contains what would normally be thought of as a divinatory message, but also a spell to help you alchemize that card's meaning. In the upper right corners, upper right and left corners of each card are two symbols. These can be used as focal points for quiet meditation or as sigils for use in the associated spell. Now, remember, in the context of spiritual alchemy, a spell isn't about calling upon arcane forces to help you achieve the desired outcome, but a way of reprogramming our subconscious minds through the language of symbolism. Now, the layout I'll be using is the alchemical elemental spread. Because there are multiple cards involved, you don't necessarily have to perform each spell for each card that can focus solely on the one associated with the final outcome. That being said, if you feel drawn to complete the corresponding spells for any of the other cards, then please feel free to do so. Just trust your own inner voice here. Now, I won't be discussing those spells in this video, but will include instructions for them in the description. Also, I'd wanted to film a top-down view of me laying out the cards as I read them, but some technical issues with my camera kept this from happening. Instead, I've created a series of visuals for them. Hopefully, the issues which forced me to do this will be resolved in the future. Lastly, please remember that this is a collective and not an individual reading. Because of this, not everything here will resonate with you, and that's perfectly fine. Because we're dealing with subconscious currents here instead of divination, it also doesn't matter when you find this message. If it's applicable, your subconscious will draw the correlations. All that being said, let's get into the reading itself. First, we will be looking at the actual card positions of the spread. The first position is Earth, and the cards which occupy this location represents the material foundation. It basically tells you what the situation is standing on and reveals the grounded, practical state of the matter. What is physically present? What are the tangible conditions or environment? Is it stable, or do we see instability? The next position is Air, which represents your current mental atmosphere. It's your mindset, internal narratives, incoming messages from your higher self. Basically, it's what your own mind is contributing to the situation, whether that be good or bad. Air basically asks what thoughts, beliefs, assumptions or communications shape the issue at hand. Now, the third position is fire, which is the force of action and will. Fire speaks to your motivations, desires, conflicts, courage, passions, and so on. The main question fire asks of us is to identify what energy is driving the situation forward or holding it back. Now, water has always been linked to emotions, and the fourth position is no different. The card occupying this space reveals what feelings, intuitions, or relational dynamics are influencing the situation. This could be unspoken emotions, fears, past wounds, or even subconscious influences. And it truly is the heart of the issue, as it represents the emotional truth beneath the surface. Finally, the spirit position can be thought of as the final outcome. It identifies the larger patterns, lessons, or results. However, because spirit is the fifth element that binds the others together, this card also shows us the deeper meaning behind the outcome itself. Okay. The Ember. In the Earth position, the Ember reveals that the physical and practical foundation of this situation is in a depleted or low energy state, but not entirely extinguished. What is present may be feeling worn down or operating at a bare minimum. Your momentum is reduced, and there may be signs of fatigue, scarcity, or even neglect in the environment. Now, this could be finances that are spread too thin, an overworked body in need of some downtime, or maybe even a feeling of burnout in your career. However, the foundation, though weakened, is still viable. There's enough stability here to rebuild, and enough substance to reignite forward momentum. So this situation calls for care, patience, and intentional tending rather than brute force. What you do next will either fan the ember into flames or allow it to cool even further. In the air position, we have the mask. The mask reveals that your current mental atmosphere is shaped by concealment, role-playing, or filtered self-expression. Much of what you're thinking, telling yourself, or communicating outwardly is being edited, either to protect yourself or to meet an expectation that you believe exists. The question you're asking yourself is, which version of me is acceptable here rather than what is true? Now, this card suggests that your thoughts may be divided between authenticity and performance. You may be mentally rehearsing how to appear capable, calm, aligned, or in control, even if your inner reality feels more complex. Alternatively, you could be assuming that others only want, or maybe can only handle, a certain version of your truth, and so your mind filters insight before it reaches expression. At the same time, the mask indicates that your higher self is pressing for revelation. Incoming messages, intuitive nudges, or repeating thoughts may be urging you to remove what no longer fits. Air here asks for honesty in thought before honesty in speech, to notice where assumptions, fears, or habitual narratives are distorting perception. And this is a moment of discernment. The mind can either continue maintaining the mask, consuming energy and creating inner friction in that process, or allow clarity through truth. Once something is named, thought patterns can realign. When the mask drops, communication becomes cleaner, decisions sharper, and the mental atmosphere lighter. In the fire position, we have the classical alchemical symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. In the fire position, the Ouroboros reveals that the energy driving this situation is cyclical rather than linear. Your will is not currently oriented toward conquest, escalation, or final resolution, but toward return, renewal, and continuation. There is a deep instinctive push to begin again, not from ignorance, but from accumulated experience. Fire here does not burn outward in a straight line. It, like the Ouroboros, it coils inward, feeding itself and transforming endings into fuel. This card suggests that your motivation may feel confusing or even frustrating if you expect decisive closure. Part of you may wonder why the same themes, desires, or challenges are resurfacing. Yet the Ouroboros makes it clear that this repetition is intentional and sacred. What appears to be a setback or lack of progress is actually the will of the soul insisting on an integration rather than escape. The fire is asking, have you learned what you needed to learn? Action under the Ouroboros is not about starting from zero. It's about starting from depth. Your desire to act is fueled by memory, by lessons earned through experience, and by knowing what no longer works. When you act from this place, your fire becomes sustainable rather than consuming. So in essence, fire reveals that what drives this situation is not impatience for the new, but devotion to completion through return. The flame does not destroy the circle, it keeps it alive. The Silent Star. This is on point for the water position as it asks you to trust your own inner intuition. In the water position, the Silent Star reveals that the emotional core of this situation is governed by quiet knowing rather than overt feeling. Beneath the surface, there's a deep, steady intuition at work, one that doesn't shout, plead, or dramatize itself. The heart already knows the truth, but it may not be expressing it through strong emotions or clear narratives. Instead, it appears as subtle sensations, gentle pulls, pauses, or even moments of calm recognition. The Silent Star can indicate emotional restraint or sacred privacy. You or someone connected to this situation may be holding your feelings close, not out of fear, but out of reverence for their depth. Now, this isn't emotional avoidance, it's more of emotional discernment. And water here flows beneath the surface, shaping everything without drawing attention to itself. At its heart, this card asks for trust and intuition over explanation. The emotional truth you seek cannot be reasoned into clarity or forced into conversation. It has to be felt in moments of quiet, through rest, solitude, or gentle, mindful presence in the moment. When you stop searching for emotional proof, the truth reveals itself naturally. Spirit position, we have the hollow tree. This reveals that the ultimate outcome of the situation is release leading to renewal. What appears empty, weakened, or no longer fruitful, what was identified by the Ember in the Earth position, is a threshold instead of a failure. Spirit shows that something you have been gripping for, security, identity, or continuity, has already completed its purpose. The hollowness is not a loss of life, but an invitation for transformation. As an outcome, this card suggests that the situation resolves not through accumulation or effort, but through letting go. When attachment is loosened, whether that be to an old role, belief, relationship dynamic, or expectation, space is created for something genuinely new to emerge. This may feel initially uncomfortable, as emptiness often does, but Spirit affirms that this space is fertile rather than barren. As the binding element, Spirit also shows how all previous forces converge here. The tired foundation of the Ember finds relief and release. The mental strain of the mask dissolves when authenticity replaces performance. The cyclical fire of the Ouroboros completes its turn, not by repeating endlessly, but by shedding what no longer belongs to the cycle. And the quiet intuition of the silent star is honored through trust rather than control. All elements resolve through surrender. At a deeper level, the hollow tree teaches that true stability comes not from clinging, but from allowing change to move through you. Spirit reminds you that decay and growth are not opposites, but are rather partners. When you stop trying to preserve what is already transformed, life finds new ways to root itself through you. In essence, the spiritual outcome is not an ending, but a clearing. What you release becomes the doorway. What you allow becomes the blessing. Okay, the spell to help alchemize this is the Letting Go offering. It's very simple to complete, as are all the spells with the Alchemist Grimoire deck. First, you'll want to find a leaf, stone, or small object to represent what you're ready to release. Then you whisper your burden into it. And then after that, you bury it beneath a tree or place it at the base of a plant, and you say aloud, "Old roots rot and nourish anew. What I release returns transformed." Now, of course, as always, if you can, incorporate some visualizations into this, that will make it even stronger, as that will clarify the symbolic language for your subconscious so you can start integrating it. So that is the reading. Let me know in the comments if this resonated with you, what you think of the deck. I'm really interested for some feedback on this. And until next time, walk in peace and light, my friends.